Welcome to Leaders of the West, a podcast for innovators and changemakers. I'm your host, Jessie Jarvis, the founder of the West, and I'm sitting down with agriculturalists, entrepreneurs, executives, and everyone in between with the goal of digging into the strategies, mindsets, and lessons that have been crucial to the success of ag and Western. Whether you're carrying on the next generation of your family's operation, starting something from scratch, or determined to climb up the leadership ladder, we're going to inspire you to continue to dream big, growing not just you, but the future of agriculture and Western as a whole. Let's go. Hiring is hard, especially when you're in a company where you're hiring all the time. We've been working behind the scenes to create something specifically for those of you who are hiring on average 3 to 4 jobs every month. Cue our unlimited hiring subscription. The jobs in our unlimited subscription are equivalent to the pro job package that we offer, where those positions are listed on the site, shared across all social media accounts, and included in our weekly emails. Your company also receives an annual dedicated email sent to all of our subscribers that talks more about the work you do, the positions you're hiring for, and why candidates should apply for your roles. And did we mention that your accounting department will love you because they'll only have to reconcile one payment every month compared to a transaction for every job you post? Hey, it's the little things. For more information on Of the West's unlimited subscription, you can visit ofthewest.co/hiring. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Leaders of the West. I am kind of unwell this week, not in a sickness way, but in a mental way because our kids start school tomorrow, which I know is so behind. I feel like everybody else, their kids have already started school. We always seem to start a little bit later. And unfortunately, because of that, we always get out a little bit later. We don't get out until usually the first week of June, which is absolutely wild to me. In theory, I feel like it should be a national law that you cannot go to school after Memorial Day or before Labor Day. I feel like Memorial Day to Labor Day should be a national summer vacation, if you will. But Jet starts school this week, and I really enjoy having him home. Jackson, she's still a little too young to hang out with me every day while we do ranch stuff, and then obviously while I'm in my office. So she still goes to daycare in the summer most days. But Jet is big enough where he hangs out with Justin or with me. So usually he'll go do cowboy stuff with his dad, which is awesome. That's obviously why we do what we do. But in the chance that he doesn't get that opportunity, then he usually hangs out with me. And I am going to miss having my little work buddy at home. We have a pretty good system worked out. Not that you guys necessarily care, but in the mornings when it's really nice out, we will go out and we will water our tomatoes and our pumpkins and the flowers. And usually then we'll play outside. He plays. I have a camping table that I set up and I kind of use that as my makeshift outdoor office, if you will. So we spend a few hours in the morning or most of the morning outside. I work outside. He plays outside. We come in for lunch. And then after lunch, by that time, it's usually pretty dang hot around here. So he will play inside or I'll turn on a movie. And I still occasionally get a nap out of him. So if I have a movie on and he's got his pillow and his blanket, oftentimes he'll fall asleep on the couch, which I absolutely love. So that's kind of our routine. And then obviously in the afternoon, we pick up Jackson, and she is so excited to see her brother. When they say distance makes the heart grow fonder, holy cow, they are so right. We know that applies to all areas of life, but especially with those two, they have so much fun when they haven't been with one another all day long. And then when we get home, obviously they play, they have a grand old time. And then by that time it's dinner time and maybe we'll go out to the arena after that. And then it's time for bed and on to a new day. But anyways, the whole point of that conversation was just to say that now my days are changing and I'm not going to have my little work from home buddy and I'm going to be all here by my lonesome, but I'll get over it. Okay. I feel like I've bored you guys enough with the saga that is my life. So today, I want to chat with you guys, and I'm going to make this really quick, I promise, but something I feel really passionate about. And it is this idea that from the outside looking in, we just see people and their successes, and we genuinely have no idea the amount of work that people have to put in to get where they are. So often, we look at what other people have, and we think, oh my gosh, that must be so nice, or oh, how lucky are they? But I can tell you, it is not luck. Whatever they have achieved has taken a lot of hard work, a lot of hours, a lot of time, a lot of reps, time that we have never seen before. We're just seeing that final product, not all that goes into how they got where they are. It's kind of like a pie. If you go to a bakery, you see this beautiful pie in the display and, oh my gosh, that looks so good. It took somebody hours upon hours to make that pie, right? They had to get the recipe and they had to get the ingredients and they had to put it all together and then they had to put it in the oven and then they had to take it out and they had to let it set. And like, while that may be the process for baking a pie or any kind of baked goods, that's also the recipe for life. You know, what we see in the display case or the window, it didn't just happen to get there the way that it is. And, you know, of course, the only time where maybe that is untrue is if somebody has like a trust fund. And really, while that may look nice from the outside, you don't want that because life is actually really hard for people who don't have to do hard things. However, that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about the work that goes on behind the scenes. And I have a little story that goes with that. So we have a couple of girls who live really close to us. And oh my goodness, I absolutely adore them. They are two of the best kids and they are so mature and they aren't into their phones or doing other things that little middle schoolers are. There's nothing wrong with middle schoolers, but they are just wise beyond their years. Their mom and I, we grew up together and then she moved away. She got married. She started a family. And in the last few years, their family has moved back to our area. They are really active in showing 4-H animals and they go to some jackpot shows as well, but showing animals is their thing. And these girls are really, really good at it. Now, I told you guys that in the summers, I take Jackson into daycare. That's usually around 7:30 in the morning. And on my way, I will drive past the girls' house. And every morning when I drive by, they have their animals in the arena. They are walking steers, walking goats, walking dairy heifers. If they aren't out in their arena practicing their showmanship, then you are guaranteed to see those animals tied up and the girls are feeding, watering, cleaning pens. They are like clockwork. There is not a morning from the day that summer starts till the day that fair starts that I don't drive by and those girls are not out there. It is religious. And before school gets out for the summer, those girls have their chores done before 7:30 because that's when school starts. So they are up and at 'em. They have their chores done. They're always on time to school. Like these girls are really getting after it. So about a month ago, we had our county fair. And guess what? Those girls cleaned house. I think they won Grand Champion Showman and Grand Champion Quality in just about every single project that they took. Why? Because they put in the work all summer long. If you're somebody like me who sees them putting in the work every dang day, it is very easy to understand why they won all those ribbons and won all those banners. And it is so cool to see them succeed. I know the amount of work that these girls have put into showing up at the top of their game for that 1 week during fair. It has been months and months of preparation and practice. But if you're somebody who just sees the other side of the curtain, the ribbons, the banners, and nothing else, it's probably really easy to think, oh, they must have gotten really lucky, or, oh, they must have money, or, oh, they must have some kind of a connection to whatever it would be. Yes, there are absolutely some situations out there where specific people do well, probably in judged events because they know the right person. But let's take a step back, and not specifically to these girls whatsoever, but 90% of the time, people receive what they've worked for, whether we see those long hours or not. Something else along those same lines that has always really bugged me is discrediting people who have done well because somebody else in their family has done well in that same thing. Let's take rodeo, for example. I always hear people saying, well, I don't like XYZ because their dad or their mom was a world champion, and the only reason they're successful is because of their parents. Yes, I will be the first person to say that we have absolutely no choice in what family we're born into, and some people may have more privilege or opportunity based on their family ties. There is no denying that. But just because your dad was a world champion or just because your mom was a world champion does not mean that you are going to be a world champion. It takes a lot of work and a lot of reps and a lot of practice and a lot of failures to get to the level of a world champion. Yes, of course, somebody may have had it easier than somebody else, but that doesn't mean that it was handed to him or her in any way. They still had to put in the work when nobody else was watching to get to where they are. Because success requires consistency. If you have a goal on your mind, you have to be consistent. And you can't buy consistency. You're not going to get consistency because you're friends with a friend. Consistency has to come from within. So I'm going to ask you, and I probably need to ask myself this too. If you are struggling with the thing that you want and you see other people doing well and you're wondering why you're not doing well, are you being consistent? Are you showing up every day and putting in the work even when others aren't watching? Or are you showing up every now and then and kind of winging it when needed? That's kind of a gut punch because I know there are certain things that I am absolutely not as consistent as I need to be in order to achieve the result that I want. Consistency truly is one of the biggest building blocks in our foundations. And I will even go all in on consistency and say that it is even more important than technique. Now, hear me out on this. Obviously, we know that it takes doing like the right stuff to get ahead. Now, when I mean right, I mean you're focusing on what you need to be doing, like using the right strategies, etc. Not like this is right and this is wrong. But here's why I feel consistency is even more important than technique. Whatever we deem as right or the correct strategy or technique, that's not going to be the answer forever. Because we know this saying, what got you here won't get you there. Your techniques and your strategies and your efforts and your reps, they're always going to be changing. But something that remains constant through all of that is that muscle of consistency. If you can get consistent, if you can show up every day, you are going to get ahead. And once you've developed that habit, then you can focus on the right strategies and the right techniques. But consistency is where it's at. Showing up every day, even when you don't want to, being willing to put in the work and the reps and the hours long before the week of fair, just like my little girlfriends down the road have. But I just want to encourage you, be consistent and also be really mindful of what you're thinking about when others are doing well. Because again, yes, there is a little bit of luck involved, but we know the harder we work, the luckier we get. And chances are you have no idea of the amount of work and hours that somebody has put into in order to get to where they are. So that is what I have for you guys today. If that is something that resonated with you, please let me know. I love when you guys drop that in your stories and tag me or tag Of the West. It really means a lot. Or when you just send us a DM. Thank you guys so very much again for always being here. And you guys know the drill. You'll catch us back here next week.
If you loved this episode, do us a favor and share it with someone else who might find just as much value in it as you did. We're on a mission to continue to grow and strengthen the future of agriculture and Western industries, and you spreading the word helps us make more of a positive impact. It also makes a big difference when you take a minute to go rate and review the show. We can't thank you enough for listening, for sharing, and for loving Ag and Western as much as we do. We'll see you back here for our next episode.